Welcome back, 9:24. Some sun poking out there on this Thursday morning, and let's talk politics right now. We'll go over to Victoria, bring in our good friend Liza Yuzda from News 1130, legislative reporter. Good morning.
Good morning, Thor.
And Phase 3 is upon us. Premier John Horgan announcing this yesterday. So before we get into some of the details here, what does this actually look like? What does this mean for the province?
Well, if you're listening to Dr. Bonnie Henry, it means essentially that we can travel around a bit. But if we want to stay the level of cases that we have and the level of safety that we have, we really have to continue doing what we've been doing, washing our hands, keeping 6 feet distance, putting a mask on if we can't keep that 6 feet distance for short periods of time. She did a modeling update again yesterday. She's done a couple before. I think this last one was about 3 weeks ago. One of the interesting things she showed yesterday, and I think we have a graphic of it, is how we've changed, how we've moved. You can see that blue line at the top here shows parks, and you can see it peaked where you see that gray bar, and that's where they enacted all of the regulations and restrictions. And then you see it dip down, and everything sort of does that big dip down right after the restrictions. But things are coming back up. You can see we're in parks a lot right now. We're in our homes a little bit less. Like it dips throughout the week, and coming up are transit, store use, and going to our work. And so a lot of us, those are things that we've seen change. One of the things that they talk about is that when we were at the height of our restrictions, we were moving around about 30 to 40% of what we did pre-COVID times. Now we're up around 60, 65%. That's okay. Dr. Bonnie Henry says it makes her a little nervous, but it means that we're staying in what she has called that sweet spot. If we hit 70 and above 70, that's when we really could see things change, and we could see things, transmissions increase, community transfer increase. So that's the thing that we want to watch, is keeping that sweet spot. So when it comes to traveling around the province, yes, they want people to get out. The Premier's talked about how we need to support tourism here, but you need to be a conscientious and kind visitor, they are saying. You need to phone ahead, make sure that they're okay with you coming. Bring your own food, have a plan, and this is the most important one that I've heard, have a plan for if you start to feel ill. And one of the things is, come home or call 811 and make a good decision. Okay, and then what about any indication in terms of opening it up outside of Canada? The province doesn't seem eager to encourage that, especially with the border still closed. I would think that's a very safe, astute assessment. The health minister, the health officer, the Premier have all mentioned these massive outbreaks that they're seeing, or spikes that they're seeing in a lot of places in the States. One south of us, Yakima County, has 250,000 people, and they have twice as many cases as we have here in BC with 5 million people. So, yeah, there's a lot of danger there, and so they're really keen on keeping that border closed. But we are going to have the added increase of people coming from other parts of Canada. So we need to be aware of that as well, because there's different risks in Quebec and Ontario. Although they're improving, they still have more cases than we do. Okay. And the legislature is back in session, but it looks a lot different than normal. What are some of the things that our politicians are dealing with? Well, they are Zooming. We all deal with Zooming, for work, for friends. That's what we use. And they've used it at the legislature. And I must say, it has been quite seamless. A lot of that is kudos, I think, to the Kirk, Kate Ryan Lloyd, who did a lot of practice with the legislators, the MLAs. And so it has really gone quite smoothly. It's gone so smoothly, in fact, that we've noticed, the hallmark of QP, the beaking off, the quips, the shouting at each other, that's all back. There was a lot of collaboration in the early days of COVID-19, and they are well good and into going at each other again. Doesn't take long to get back to the mudslinging. No. Speaking of which, you got a little feisty on Twitter the other day because of a video that the BC Liberal Party put out. Can you give us a little context in terms of why you took issue with this video? Well, there's fundraising, and the parties are always fundraising, and I get that. And they use a lot of I don't know what you call it, like mudslinging kind of tactics. So they put out this video of John Horgan where he was talking to a group of NDP trainees for fundraising for electioneering. And this is the executive director of the BC Liberal Party you're seeing right now. And essentially, I saw it as absolute fear-mongering and baseless fear-mongering when people are already scared enough. And what essentially they were saying is, oh, my gosh, the Premier's in such a good place right now, subtext. He might call a snap election in the fall. How dangerous is that? Bonnie Henry says it's so dangerous. Well, I haven't heard that. I've heard the Premier saying it could happen at any time. We're a minority government. And so if anything changes, we've got, very little room to give. So all parties are fundraising. All parties are trying to raise money. They just, I think, need to tamp it down a little bit right now as far as the fear goes.
Even during a pandemic, the political games don't stop, do they?
Nope, don't stop.
Okay. Thanks as always, Liza. We really appreciate your insight today.
Take care, Thor.
Yeah, you too. Have a great one. That's Liza Yuzda, News 1130's legislative reporter from Victoria. We'll be back with more BT after this.